Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to Let's Play Demon's Souls. Before we enter 5-2, I'm going to pump some points into Faith real quick, which I probably should have done a bit more before now, since I need to get it up to 24. And I've kind of gone into a mixed strength dexterity setup, also known as quality. So, the Swamp of Sorrows. All that is unclean ends up in the giant swamp at the base of the Valley of Defilement. The swamp is a cesspool of putrilage, vermin, and plague. So let's take a dive in there. Sounds like a joyous, pleasant place. And real quick, we are just going to make a quick 180 so we can pick up a couple of things left behind in Leechmonger's room. Also, so we can check this out, which I haven't called too much attention to. This is part of the game's, not asynchronous, asymmetrical. I guess it is both. It's asynchronous and asymmetrical multiplayer. So the bloodstains show the final moments of another player's life, and sometimes those can, act as useful warnings for upcoming traps or ambushes. White phantoms are echoes of other players in their own games, and of course you can drop messages that show up in other people's worlds. And you get healed if you place one and people rate it well. Oh, hell yes! Oh, are you kidding me? In its own sordid way, it is so beautiful and breathtaking. This is ever the divisive level, but I have a long and storied history of loving the levels that everybody hates. See also the Frigid Outskirts in the Ivory King DLC for Dark Souls 2. I think 5-2 is great. And this is an unpopular opinion. By the way, take note of the shortcut we're going to open up much later. But many correct positions start off as being unpopular. It took a long time for Citizen Kane to be recognized as a classic, and this is very much the Citizen Kane of swamps. This was the prototype swamp, the template for all of the ones that came after this. So you get poisoned in it, you can't roll, you just lurch forward and leave yourself wide open. But you can sprint. And there's this nifty little trick that you can use to make your stamina bar carry you a little bit further before being totally depleted. And it is if you rapidly switch between one-handing and two-handing your weapon. If you look at the stamina bar, you'll see it causes for a split second this little delay, and it stops your stamina from being spent for just that little brief moment. And also, speaking of counteracting some of the more difficult elements of the swamp, oh hello jellyfish. The poison, that's where the trifecta of the Blessed Mace that we got in the previous level, along with the Regenerator's Ring and the Adjudicator Shield from the first level of the Shrine of Storms comes in. We have enough passive healing over time to totally negate that threat. Plus, there's another Regenerator's Ring in the swamp. There is also an item that is brand new to the remake called the Sodden Ring, which allows you to actually roll through the swamp. It allows you to move through it at full mobility. But it comes from a much later level, and I want to do 5-2 early. One, because I really like the level, and I want to talk more about it. Oh, we can see that silhouette, that intimidating, imposing silhouette of the giant depraved one up on that island. And unfortunately, he is in our way for the time being. We can't open the fog gate from this side. But that's totally fine, because we still want to go and loop around the back half of this side of the swamp. There's still plenty of islands with some good stuff on them. Including a few things I definitely don't want to miss out on, especially for the 100%. But anyway, as for the Sodden Ring, we get it much later. And I wanted to come here early to get something in particular. Where is she? I'm surprised she hasn't shown up yet. Oh, there she is. Just on the edge of her draw distance. That is an infamous NPC. That is a Black Phantom. I know last time I said Black Phantoms were other players invading your game. That's technically not the whole truth. Occasionally, there are Black Phantom NPCs like this one. They are particularly strong, and this one happens to be the Ear of Worlds. I'm going to go and put the Grave Robber's Ring on that we got from the Shrine of Storms, because we have the Thief's Ring, which already cloaks our presence, and then we also have the Grave Robber's Ring, which makes you harder to detect by Black Phantoms. So we're basically invisible to her, and we're going to stealth around her. We're going to treat this like the stealth horror game that it kind of is sometimes. And we'll read that cat ring when I feel out of danger. I'm not going to be fighting her in the swamp where I can't roll. We'll be back for her later. Simple ring with a cat engraven on the seal. Though it decreases damage sustained from high falls, you cannot expect a mere ring to protect your life against drops from too great a height. I think Bluepoint is a fantastic developer, and they did an outstanding job. However, they committed a crime I can't forgive. They took the JPEG cat out. The cat's ring icon used to be a JPEG of some cat. And it looked totally out of place. I loved it. I loved it dearly. And so did many people in the community. Rightly so. That cat rocked. It was so cute. These monsters at Bluepoint replaced JPEG cat. 0 out of 10 game. But don't worry, JPEG cat actually does live on in this game. It's a really cute reference that we'll see a long time from now. And we, I think, successfully managed to get around the giant depraved one without aggroing him, so we can take our time moving along the scaffolding up here. And next we get to fight the mosquitoes. Fun, fun. They can be a little bit annoying. By the way, another really common issue people tend to have with this level is getting lost. And to that, I would say just follow the walls and follow the torches. The level is essentially... the bottom floor here, which is the swamp, and it's bisected by that huge belt of debris. Whoops. So you just follow the wall around to the fog gate, and then follow the scaffolding around as it snakes through the shanty town. And if you fall off, you just trace your steps back, using the big torches as your landmarks, until you hit a wall. But I think the frustration comes in with it being dark, you being poisoned the whole way, having really low mobility, and getting lost all at the same time. So I can understand why people say they hate this place. But I think they aren't appreciating all the good, and how you can strategically circumvent a lot of the challenges of the swamp. Mosquitoes stay annoying though, especially because of the depth perception thing, which may just be me. So this attack is not all that dangerous, but it takes forever to get out of the grab animation. Getting command grabbed by mosquitoes out here. So what I love is how much of a fantastic job this setting does of transporting you to it and immersing you in this wretched, truly awful place. Oh, and yet another new enemy type. There are quite a few enemy types in 5-2. These are phosphorescent slugs. And we're not going to spend too much time hanging out with them, because we'll be back here. Did you see that fall? There's an entire nest of them up there. They fell onto an item, and the nest is actually concealing another item, which is the one that we came here for. But we still have a little ways to go. Actually, I could turn around and go on the path to go get that right now, but I want to talk to the old woman first. And she is just up ahead. We have a few problems we have to deal with, though. Namely, these two giant depraved ones, which are a lot harder to stealth around. I could pull them and then run away and leash them, reset their aggro. But I don't know. I don't like that tactic. I don't like doing that, so I'll just fight them. There's enough solid landmass in this area that as long as you pull them with like a firebomb or an arrow or some soul remains, you can get them and 1v1 them on here where you have full mobility. And a decent amount of room to just maneuver around his big old club. So to go back real quick to the immersion of this level, it takes you into this tropically humid cesspit. I did pick these black pine resin. Yeah, okay, good. This cesspit of filth and misery. And it's so well realized that it makes my skin crawl. The walls are slick, they kind of writhe and run. This is going to be an odd statement, but I think Valley of Defilement does Filth better than any other game. I'm giving this my coveted Filth of the Year award. Which is weird because I never thought I was a corruption avatar before. I always thought of myself as an avatar of the vast. Those dudes just vibe. Simon Fairchild? Funky Grandpa? Yeah. The joy of oozing, crawling pestilence as minds distrusted their own corrupted bodies. And we're going to interrupt that really quick. Don't worry, I have a lot to say about Filth. But speaking of Filth, the filthy woman reappears.
Hey, I know you. Won't you buy something, please? My poor child is sick. He needs your help. This place, it's a proper heap of rubbish. All the rot of the world, living or not, ends up here. My boy doesn't want for anything. Ever since that demoness came here, everything has turned foul. This was a much better place before she came. I was the apple of every man's eye. You're here to rid us of her, aren't you? Well, don't show her any mercy. My boy doesn't want...
What?
Here to
what?
My boy.
They removed dialogue. They removed some dialogue. And I think I know why, because of actually what I wanted to talk about with that dialogue that got removed. There's a line, maybe there's just a different trigger for it and I'm misremembering, but I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be in that second, that second speech. She's supposed to talk about, this is just talking about the first temple of their religion, of their order, built in a place called Mirrored.
Please buy more. For the
Maybe I just have to... No? Maybe if I go away and return?
Oh, God, I've had enough humiliation for one lifetime. My boy doesn't...
I can't believe they removed that. There's a line where...
I've had enough humiliation.
She says that the men around here talk about her like she's the Mother Mary, or the Virgin Mary, or something like that. Which is bonkers to me that this keeps happening in FromSoft games. Like, in From games particularly, these weird anachronisms, I guess, Not even just, like, anachronisms, just things that are from our world that are jarringly, somehow... What the hell? I think the mosquito died as it was starting the grab animation, and it just played it on me anyway. But, like, I still, to this day, think about how Hippocrates existed in the universe of Bloodborne. Hippocrates is canon. Because something in one of the item descriptions mentions the Hippocratic Oath. And then Demon Souls, I guess PS3 Demon Souls has the line about the Mother Mary. And I'm guessing they removed that for the sake of verisimilitude, so you don't conflate their fictional Umbasa religion with Christianity. But that sucks. I was very amused by that. Like, Boletaria is a Christian kingdom. Astrava said fuck, and King Allant was like, this is a Christian kingdom, I will have no such profanity. Oh, shit. Anyway, we backed up from her to trace this new network of scaffolding upwards towards, you can probably guess, that nest of phosphorescent slugs. Really limited range, no damage. They're just a little bit durable. And we have to hit the nest a few times once we work our way up there in order to get it to drop. I just want to take care and give myself no room to get killed by getting, like, knocked off the ledge here. I just want to make sure nothing goes horrendously wrong. So I'm taking this a bit slow and clearing out a few of these slugs. Even the ones in the back here matter a little bit to clear out, because you can see they're guarding an item from one. And then the way you make it back down, if you want to take the short way, you don't want to backtrack this whole thing. I hope this... Oh. It just occurred to me that then that might not have damaged the ones in the bundle, in the nest. Yeah, in order to get down there the fast way, you have to make some drops here. Oh, a legendary hero soul. That's going to be worth quite a bit. Especially once I go back and have to level up, because I think I only made it up to 16 faith out of the 24 that I need. Careful, careful, careful. Fall damage tended to be pretty high in Demon Souls, so it's got me spooked. But we're just about at the end of the path now. This brings us back down into the second half of the swamp, just after the first fog gate. Oh, and we get even a little water slide, a little log flume. Good for us. We earned it. Yeah, I really should have saved those firebombs. I should have whacked it a bunch until it fell down and then firebombed some of these. Because now we get to play a game of either clear all these out, or I have to put my dancing shoes on. I think we'll kind of split the difference. I'll clear a few of these out and then do my best to juke the rest. I would really, really rather not lose my body form here. Not for the health, but for a different system. Oh, and here we go. This is a unique animation. The Large Sword of Moonlight. There's still another item there, and I want it. I want it. Oh. They're gonna make this a little bit harder than it needs to be. Oh, that's all it was a sucker stone shard. This is not even that useful. We got... well... Yeah, shards are always kind of useful. We also got that pure sucker stone from the first half of the swamp. Let's check out what we came here for, though. The Large Sword of Moonlight. Notice it is no physical damage, it's all magic, and it scales S with faith. That's the best it can get. A legendary large sword that shines with moonlight, strongly associated with the Moonlight Knight Vito, one of the few remaining relics of God. The blue crystal blade is comprised entirely of light, making it impossible to block with a shield. So we don't have the stats to wield it effectively, but we could still throw it on and swing it about. Oh! This is a really nice iteration of the Moonlight Greatsword. It looks so good! Oh, I can't wait to use this. So we're doing a bit of a faith build, a bit of a Moonlight Greatsword rush build. Unfortunately, there are not that many offensive miracles in Demon Souls. That didn't really become a thing until later in Dark Souls and DS2. But again, S scaling with faith. That's as high as it goes from E to S. It can't be blocked by shields. And it has like 80% magic resistance when you block with it, when you use it as a shield, which is gigantic.
Please buy more. They're here to rid us of our...
Damn, they really did remove that line. And the recurrence of the Moonlight Greatsword is a super common thing in From games. They actually have a lot of recurring little elements and in-jokes and things. The crow that we traded with is actually one of them. The crows reappear in a lot of their more recent games. You have to be really careful in the shanty town. There are a lot of depraved ones here and a lot of little blind corners from whence they can ambush you. And they're just all around. The Moonlight Greatsword is one of their oldest recurring bits. It dates back to the first Kingsfield. And it's not just their fantasy games and their action RPGs that frequently feature it. It's a laser cannon in the Armored Core series. It's in Metal Wolf Chaos. It's in Forever Kingdom. I'm pretty sure Otogi and Ninja Blade. Whoops. I'm gonna watch out for the torch guy, and the third one doesn't seem to have aggroed, so I think we're good there. China Mieville would absolutely love this world. Like, this whole setting. Grime and like, effluvia are really deeply embedded into both of the stories that I've read of his. King Rat and Perdido Street Station. Both are really good, by the way. But in King Rat, like, a lot of it takes place in a sewer system, and there are some detailed descriptions of the surroundings. And more than once, the main character eats garbage. And that just gives Mieville such a chance to flex his grotesquerie muscles. And then in Perdido Street Station, like, it takes place in this setting that is so heavily polluted that by like page 3, he's talking about the surrounding sea and all of the dead fish and the frogs who are floating in it, and he calls it a rotten stew. Just such a good description. He goes to such pains to illustrate how polluted this place is. Oh, at some point he describes something as like, I don't even remember what, but he describes it as massive, a massive trough. A massive stinking trough of malarial slime, that's it. Malarial slime. That's like the old effluvial grime from Eternal Darkness. You don't get to use these words very often, which I think is part of the allure. Like, that's part of the fun of it, is just getting to play with words that you normally don't have call to use that much. And they have good phone aesthetics. And the other thing is, it feels like they really threw the kitchen sink of disgusting shit in here. And yet, it's also not that graphic, right? Like, it's a little gross. A little, like, overtly gross. But it's more that it evokes the feeling of being enveloped by, like, a film of grime. But it's not just pure gross out gratuitousness, if that makes sense. It's like how Silent Hill is really good at implying something grisly or horrific, but rarely goes like full Splatterhouse with it. Rarely leans into explicit gore. The next and final level of the Valley of Defilement, though, it gets pretty heavy. But that's fun that we're gonna save for later. Now, we still have to work our way through the shantytown, and it can be a bit of a confusing web of like interconnected islands that are only connected by small driftwood ramps and bridges. And a lot of that can kind of run together. It's a bit jumbled and busy. So I can see how it would be a little bit difficult to navigate, especially if you're trying to find everything. There is a lot in this level. There are parts of the swamp that we have not even seen yet. We still have quite a bit left. We haven't even opened up that shortcut that I pointed out way back at the beginning of the level. And I guess that might be another point of annoyance here, is the lack of shortcuts. I mean, you technically have the fog gate, which is really quickly and easily accessible once you finally open it up. And then the only other thing is the bridge that we haven't gotten to yet. But then again, that's more of an issue with Demon Souls in general. They weren't as conscientious of boss runbacks. Speaking of, that is the boss behind us. But we still have quite a bit to do. But yeah, they weren't as cognizant of how annoying the runbacks would be by this point. So they hadn't gone full shortcut porn with it yet. And also, they weren't kind enough to put bonfires close to boss doors without shortcuts. One level was so notoriously bad for this that the remake actually added in a whole new shortcut back to the boss. It's gonna be the very final level of the game for us in our playthrough. It had like a multi-minute run back against a boss that is one of the harder ones in the game, probably in the top 3. Complete with this arduously long elevator. And I think where we want to go is just up here. God, this mechanic is used so seldomly. It's so easy to miss out on this too. Luckily, the boss of this level is not super hard. It is a step up, though, from the likes of, like, Leechmonger and Phalanx and Adjudicator. It's definitely much harder than them. And it's more involved mechanically. But it's still not the biggest threat, especially if you're not coming here as your 4th level. That's wild. We really went 1-1, 5-1, 4-1, and then 5-2. 2/3 of the Valley of Defilement done within the first four levels. But I really wanted that Moonlight Greatsword. I wanted it bad. I don't regret it either. We're going to have more than enough souls once we get back to the Nexus. And then we can spend a good, long time enjoying the Moonlight Greatsword. Such a beautiful weapon. Okay, so we got mosquitoes. I believe when they spit on you, it does way more damage than you think it will, which makes them dangerous. Also, I believe it can poison you, but this deep into the poison swamp level, a little bit extra poison is not the biggest deal in the world. You probably have plenty of lotuses, or maybe you came in here, yep, there it is, with a miracle that's a curative. You maybe got some dark moon grass, or you just took some steps to protect yourself from the poison via, like, health regeneration. By this point, it shouldn't be that big of a threat, is what I'm getting at. Plague, on the other hand, is still a problem, but there's nothing in here that will plague us. They could have been much, much meaner and made this a plague swamp, or at least featured that pretty heavily. But no, it's 5-1 and 5-3 that we're going to have to watch for that. Slight spoiler. And even just to get back to the shortcut, you have to really fight your way to it. Oh, you're not getting away. Leave, this will drop a bunch of sucker stone for us, given the level. No, faint stone chunks. It would be helpful if we could use those right now, but that'll come pretty soon. Not the next level, but the level after is when we'll probably get pretty in-depth with the item upgrades. So now we finally have that unlocked. I think we're just about done. You may have noticed that there was an island with a bunch of items on it in the middle of the swamp down here. We'll get around to that. I believe that's an island surrounded by 4 giant depraved ones, and all you get is are a few stones of ephemeral eyes. So we're going to drop down here, deal with this dude real quick, and I think behind us is a new armor set. No, where is the one I'm thinking of? Oh, it's right in here. The shaman gear. Let's see if we have any interesting item descriptions. Stained with rendered fat of some foul beast, which might explain its noxious odor. Arm wrappings of a wayward shaman. So, as you can see in Demon Souls, a lot of the item description lore, the item descriptions as sources for lore, they tend to be pretty sparse in this game. I think it was more of a Dark Souls thing where this really became a much more, they became more dense with lore. There are certainly more lore important items like the Moonlight Greatsword that we picked up that have much thicker descriptions, a lot more about the world, like the Moonlight Knight Vito, who we know is one of the knights who came down into the Valley of Defilement along with Istarel, searching for, and Selin Vinland, searching for Maiden Estraya. And now with this, I think the only thing that is really left to do is to go and confront all of the many giant lads in the swamp. As you can imagine, I'm going to try to avoid fighting them, because 4-on-1 is already not good. 4-on-1 against giant depraved ones is a really tough battle. 4-on-1 against them in the middle of the swamp without the sodden ring. There's a lot going against you if you try to fight this head on. And you might only notice the first two because they're illuminated by the items. But no, there's one a little closer to them that's cloaked in the darkness, and then another one just a little bit further out. So figuring out how to do this is going to be fun. Because I didn't actually come prepared with much of a plan. And I don't normally go after these. Because I'm pretty sure these are just stones of ephemeral eyes. Which are useful. But also not worth dying over. I thought they aggroed for a second. Okay, let's get our soul remains out and see what we can do with those. The problem with the soul remains is it will only attract one at a time, I believe. But let's give it a shot. Oh, that's at my feet. I should have angled that up more. Oh! I panic rolled too. Or tried to. Okay, that gets the retention for like a few seconds. And he's wandering away. Oh, this is no good. We're gonna try again over here and angle these so they actually go a little bit. And then... do I think I can get multiple if I throw like 4 at a time? Or is this just gonna distract the one for longer? Let's hope this is a good enough opening. Oh, fuck. Okay, so the new plan is to run until they reset and then try to cut them off before they get back to the island. And that might work. As long as I can just get enough time. Oh, God! Just need a little bit of time. Half a second. Okay, now we're good. We can grab this. Go, go, go. I don't care about the up. Fuck! This is not good, because I can't roll on wake up. Okay, okay. They can catch up with me, but by the time they do and take their swing, I can already get out of there. Why are... Sir? Sir? I could fight them on this island, but I don't trust it. It's too small a space. Because if I'm not really careful, I'll end up, like, with my toes dangling in the swamp, and that'll stop me from rolling. Alright, I think we're good. 5-2 went really, really well. We didn't miss any major items. There's just that one more stone of ephemeral eyes that I don't give a shit about. And probably some minor stuff around here. So, woo! It was a big episode. Thank you all for watching. Take it easy. Have a good one, y'all.